Hey guys, it's Magick. I wanted to do another book review for you today. This book is going to be based on something I recently just finished reading, and it's called Magick by Damien Echols. And I purchased this book on my Kindle quite a while ago. I never actually read it until a few weeks ago because I had purchased so many books. As a matter of fact, if you look by my desk in our office, I have stacks of books, particularly that I've purchased on Amazon and at the library at a discount. So, this book, High Magic by Damien Echols, really hits home with me. It's a very good book, and it's based on two things. So let's talk about that. Okay, so High Magic by Damien Echols. The two things I want to talk about with this book that are absolutely fantastic is, first of all, Damien was incarcerated for something he did not do for, I believe it was, a little over a decade. And during that time, he had no access to any type of energies but his own in order to continue his practice while he was incarcerated. And he was on death row, unfortunately. However, with the help of the energy that he was using and producing on his own, he was able to get himself off death row and out as a free man, because obviously if he didn't do something, he shouldn't be incarcerated for something that he didn't do. So anyway, it's a great story based on how he survived and what he did, but also it comes with the very wholesome idea of how he practiced and the techniques that he used. And what I mean by that is he had an agreement with his wife while he was in prison that they would do certain things at certain times during a certain moon phase, which is drinking moon water and releasing the energy of themselves into the universe, that he would be freed because he was wrongly incarcerated. He goes into a lot of information based on how he uses angels in his practice while he was incarcerated. And that to me is something fantastic, because I know a lot of people who, when they start off with their own practice, don't choose specific god or goddesses to work with or to worship. And that is actually something that I have never done personally. But within his book, he talks about how he works with them, what the benefit is of working with them, and how to work with your craft without any external energies. Because when you're incarcerated, you don't have any items that you could use, such as any tools, if you use tools, any herbs or plants or anything like that. So he has to rely on himself and his wife, obviously. But he studied this information while he was incarcerated, and he's currently now living in New York City, which he's continuing his crafting from New York City with his wife, and I think that's phenomenal. I believe he has two other books that are also available. I have not read them yet, but I have every intention of reading them because High Magic was so good. Now, I've always worked with what people call low magic or earth magic, which is using herbs and flowers and moon water and um, just your basic hoodoo voodoo type thing. But I never worked with high magic because there is ritual involved, and I don't usually like to do ritual. But the way he explains on how to do it is very unique and it's very good as far as if you want to learn or if you're interested in doing this type of magic. But he also goes into a lot of different aspects of explaining his tattoos on his body because he's covered in tattoos from his neck down to his toes, and he uses those tattoos and markings on his body as amulets and talismans. So that's kind of unique too. I never actually thought of that. I've heard of people getting tattoos to symbolize something, but I never thought of using it in place of a piece of jewelry or something that you would carry around, such as a crystal or stone or what have you. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. He also is very open-minded to the idea of still believing in God, one God, instead of a god and goddess. Although a lot of people who practice the idea of duality when it comes to the divine, and he doesn't really go into one or the other. He stays pretty neutral. But with each chapter that he talks about, he states his personal experience before he goes and teaches you step by step a process of meditation, of transforming or moving energy in your body to use it as a way of producing your own magic from your own energy. He teaches you how to use the energy of the divine and the energy of the earth, because that's the only place where he could get energy from when he was incarcerated. So again, he does a lot of different things. He has a method, and I don't have the book open right now because it's on my Kindle, that he visualizes something like your chakras. Now, he doesn't follow the actual colors, but he does follow the, what's the word I'm looking for? Each placement of what's important, such as your crown, your mind's eye, your throat, your heart, your abdomen, and your sex drive. So then, of course, he goes to your feet as well, since he's dealing with earth energies. So he has different colors. Instead of it being the ones from the chakra that you would see normally, these are different colors that he uses based on his own visualization. And it's quite good, and it makes a lot of sense. And I think that's a lot of things that I'm finding in these different books based on the reviews that I'm doing, is there's always information, ideas, and techniques that you can find that nobody else has really discussed. However, there may be a lot of information that's repeated. In this book, I did not find any information really that was repeated all that much. He talks about calling the corners. He talks about how to protect yourself when you call on 4 angels, and then he goes into a 5th and 6th to cover above and below instead of just the 4 directions of north, south, east, and west. So it's really interesting how he talks about this, and I think for anyone, even a beginner, maybe this book would be really good for. I would think it's more along the lines of someone who has the knowledge of the basics of how to practice and then read this book, just because he does go into different rituals that are a little bit more complex. They take more time. You have to put up protection, clean your space, all this other jazz before you would go into the ritual. So it's a very time-consuming process, but he does go into the information about how he and his wife use moon water and on moon phases in order to bring forth the energy to free him from prison, which I found to be fantastic. This book is probably something I'm going to read again in the future. It's really good, really, really, really good. And the fact that he does work with angels, such as I do, it resonates with me quite a bit, because I've never come across another author in any book that I've ever read where they go in and work with angels instead of a god and goddess, or work with a god, or work with a goddess from some sort of mythology, whether it would be Greek, Roman, Celtic, Irish, anything. It's very different. And he does actually speak about different mythologies. He also talks about how he learned, I think it was karate, I believe, in his book, and how it helped him to focus and bring forth energy. There's just so much. I mean, his personal path in this particular book was so interesting, let alone everything that he teaches you on top of it. But I would strongly recommend the book, definitely. There are exercises in the book that you could follow along with, and they are step by step, and they also go from like certain levels as you go along. So level 1 would be visualization and meditation. And once you get to that point, they say, okay, we'll try this once a day for 4 weeks, see how it goes, then move on to the next chapter. So it's kind of like having someone there with you to guide you based on their work. And as you're reading, you can really sense that from Damien, that he's really trying to help you in a sense that I haven't seen really someone who's basing a lot of their work off of angels. But he does go into a lot of mythology and what he believes in. And this book, I mean, it's amazing how much I had in common with the way that he does things and what he believes in and how he practices, so on and so forth, as to where it works with my own practice that I have. But anyway, if you get a chance, by all means, please go ahead, pick up a copy of this book, get it on Amazon. You can get it for Kindle at a fraction of the price of what the hardcover or paperback book would be. But as always, if you like this video, please go ahead and click on like, go ahead and click on subscribe. Also, don't forget, when you do subscribe, you'll also be notified of when I do my complimentary readings live here on YouTube, which is usually once a week. I'm not dedicating a specific day or time anymore because I'm trying to find the sweet spot where everybody would be available. Because unfortunately, as of right now, one person, 2 people, or nobody shows up. So after the video is posted, people go back and watch it. But if I don't have anybody to work with, I'm not doing any meetings. So if you want to, please join me. Certainly, I try to schedule those at least 24 hours in advance. If not, then even further out if I can. But thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Yeah.